How you guys doing? This is the third installment today for three different movies that I've seen. The final film will actually be, I've done two things this week that I probably have never imagined doing in quite some time. And that's I've watched a Richard Gere film twice. And that is that actually watched a film in the same genre about the Bosnian War, which doesn't happen very often. But now that I've had a chance to actually start this series, got to do both in the same week. So for that, to the exposure of these different films, I'm grateful for. The film was actually called The Hunting Party, starring Richard Gere, Terrence Howard, and Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg, also known as Mark Zuckerberg. This is a film that that came out in 2007, prior to The Social Network. What this film is about three reporters actually trying to capture a war criminal in post-war Bosnia, but they're actual reporters, but people believe that they're CIA agents. This film was all over the place, to be quite honest with you, and had some levels of implausibility, the likes of which I can't imagine even took place. So I don't know if it would have been working better as a black comedy, or if it would have been tried to being, all out more serious. On certain levels, it kind of worked, but at the same time, I think it kind of showed the limited range of the directors and the actors who made a film that almost didn't really serve much of a purpose. Simply put, Richard Gere plays a reporter who had a meltdown and now is trying to string together one last story with his old partner cameraman, Terrence Howard, who goes by Duck. They bring along Jesse Eisenberg's character, who's actually the son of the vice president of the television company that Terrence Howard works for, and their job is to find a Serbian war criminal by the name of the Fox. The CIA can't capture him, local authorities can't capture him, and the UN has little to no interest in actually, finding where this guy is because of the massive slaughters that he green-lighted and took place during the Bosnian War. He's actually in Sarajevo, and their job is to act as reporters, but at the same time kind of capture him. You can almost see how, in a way, like, there's no disputing the fact that while there may be behind-the-scenes deals that take place that keep these guys from eluding justice, I have a really hard time believing that a black guy could actually go around in Sarajevo and pose as a reporter and not be shot on the spot, simply because he sticks out the way that he does. And Richard Gere, unfortunately, showed his limited range as an actor, even when you saw some emotional scenes. You didn't really buy it too much. Jesse Eisenberg, his wit worked really well playing Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network, but I don't think really played very well in this type of setting of a film. Unfortunately, it just seems like the film didn't really know what it wanted to be. And what made it so hard to follow was every time these guys had a chance to see that their lives were in danger, it was almost like a bad horror film. They always magically just happen to get out of a bad situation. Like these bad guys in a war-torn country just aren't going to, shoot them in the head the first chance they see these guys when they think they're CIA agents. So I had a hard time really kind of saying, okay, yeah, they definitely got away from the situation, no problem. It almost was like watching like the Expendables, where these guys can do magic tricks but always seem to come out of the situation with no scars, no bullet wounds, and no injuries. So, and seeing these guys go to neighborhood and not be shot by criminals, and suddenly being in sort of scenes where the long drawn out James Bond kind of scene where they have a chance to suddenly evade capture seemed kind of odd to me. I think that they tried to give some backstories, the classic girlfriend on the side, whether it was Terrence Howard or the classic girlfriend on the side of Richard Gere, to try to humanize a character that was pretty much one-dimensional for the first part. I didn't hear much about the film when it first came out, but obviously, maybe because these things are more recent events, maybe we're now having a chance in 2013 to have these 1990 wars be our sort of World War II films that people had in the 70s and the Vietnam films that people had in the 80s. So maybe this is, our era where we're going to see like the Bosnian War things, we're going to see the Iraq War films, and we're going to see those things, and this is like kind of our era for those things to take place. This was definitely not a memorable film on any level, to be quite honest with you. Kind of blew. But like I said, I got good Richard Gere at the beginning of the week with Arbritrage. I got bad Richard Gere with this. And usually bad Richard Gere outweighs good Richard Gere. But, can't really recommend it, so I'm just going to give two do-rags to The Hunting Party. And unfortunately, it was not something that's memorable and speak on much more of. But if you want to check it out, go right ahead. Hope you're married. Don't bring a date to it because she might dump you afterwards.